But anyway, thinking ahead, but how it works. So how hemochromatosis works. So the liver, it's your main storage site, right? That's where you're storing iron in states of excess, right? You're either the liver is either sending iron to the bone marrow to be repurposed for red blood cells, which is where most of iron is in our body. It's sent to specific cell types, or just about every cell uses iron to some degree because of its ability to catalyze the creation of energy, right? It takes part in the cellular respiration. So it's also the shipping and handling department, right? It handles all the proteins and chaperones that make sure iron gets to where it needs to go. Healthy humans, it's like, I like to think of it like an Amazon factory. It's taken in all of this crazy stuff. There's a lot going on that the liver does, creating hormones, what have you. But it makes sure that iron gets where it needs to get quickly and efficiently, right? Because it's very reactive. Now, if the storage capacity of the liver is reached, so the liver, I believe, is able to hold anywhere from 1 to 2 grams, right? So 1 to 2,000 milligrams of iron in a liver. That's like max capacity. And it's only able to excrete 1 to 2 milligrams per day, right? So we've learned before in episode 9 as well that the iron recycling system in our body is incredibly efficient. 95% efficient. So most of the iron that we have in our body is going to stay there for a good amount of time because our body can just like keep using it. And because it's so good at holding on to what it has, it's not very good at getting rid of it, right? So when that storage capacity of the liver hits, like, it's starting to overflow, the liver's got to put it somewhere, right? And where does that iron go? The liver starts to look to neighboring tissues to help handle that backup, that backflow of iron. And the issue with this is that the liver does so many things. It is so well connected. It has its hands in so many different things. Digestion. It's an endocrine organ. It makes and distributes hormones, right? So now this implicates it in the endocrine system. It's also kind of an excretory organ in making sure that it is depositing waste into the gut and out the kidneys through feces and urine. So if you look at the list of all the things that the liver touches or could touch if it needed help, the pancreas, small intestine, gallbladder, thyroid, pituitary, bones, kidneys, and then your reproductive organs. Look at that list and think of all of the modern health conditions that we are dealing with today. That's a pretty good tie, right? Pancreas, diabetes, small intestine. Name somebody who doesn't have a digestive disorder at this point. Gallbladder. Again, that has to do with digestion as well and the creation of bile. Thyroid issues, Hashimoto's, hormone dysregulation. Pituitary. This is huge. I mean, the pituitary is kind of the master of hormone secretion. That's the one giving the calls for the entire body. If you mess with the pituitary, you're messing with everything downstream. So now this is our entire endocrine system. Your bones, osteoporosis, not to mention with the thyroid and the pituitary specifically, that's in the brain, right? So now we have iron in and around the brain. Shout out to Alzheimer's, right? And the development of altered brain tissue. Kidneys, chronic kidney failure, which is also a common comorbidity with diabetes. And again, we have the insulin resistance and the hyperglycemia definition and kind of like explanation for that tie between diabetes and chronic chronic kidney disease, but why couldn't the kidneys be loaded with iron as well? And the same goes for the reproductive organs. The fertility rate is dropping, low libidos, hair loss, PCOS. I mean, there's nothing the liver doesn't touch. So when the liver doesn't do its job, there's a lot of things that affects. So here's just a diagram, right? It's too hard to ignore. Too hard to ignore. So all of those, the pineal gland, which has to do with, there's this whole big consciousness movement now focusing on decalcifying the pineal gland. Well, let's ask why the pineal gland is so calcified. So it really is super extensive. And then, you think about, okay, now that you've got that same liver loaded with iron, man, there's nowhere that iron doesn't go. Your stomach, your guts, your brain, pancreas, kidneys, reproductive organs. Wow. Big reach, big potential for irregular iron deposition.